Welcome to the show. I'm glad to have today Rick Puente from the Woodburn Police Department, and he is the school resource officer.
Yes.
Or resource detective.
Either would work.
So, Rick, welcome. Glad to have
Thank you.
here.
Thank you for having me here on Woodburn Rising.
Great. You know, it's kind of humorous. I've seen you around the community many times and been involved in different endeavors in the community, and you're there and you're involved. And I remember once talking to you and kind of jokingly say, well, you're going to be mayor next. And you said, no, governor.
Governor, yes.
So have you put your hand in for governor?
I have not put my hand in for governor. It's funny you mentioned that. Because I am a school resource officer, it means I work with a lot of our juveniles and our youth within our community and other communities, surrounding communities. And when I talk to them, I talked about goals, ambitions, dreams. And actually, I do share that with them. I shared that when I was in the 3rd grade. I had a desire, a dream to become a police officer. Didn't know why at the time, didn't know how I would get there. And lo and behold, years later, here I am, and as a police officer. And so I've always told myself in the back of my mind, if I have had one childhood dream come true, and I've become a police officer, what's to hold me back from becoming the governor of the state of Oregon? Which was also a dream of mine back when Governor Vicatia was the governor. Don't know why Vicatia stands out for me as a child, but he stood out, and that just stuck with me. And so I'm like, what's to hold me back from achieving my other dream? So we'll see what happens.
We'll look forward to that.
Yes.
But today, you haven't put your hand in.
No, not yet.
I think it's too late for this to
Oh,
run
of course,
this.
of course. Yeah, we still got a few years. So.
Yes, right. So, school resource officer, what does that mean? And you talked a little bit about talking to kids about their dreams. And
yes.
I mean, it sounds like you're doing some motivating, but what's the mission of that position? Or
well, it's pretty, honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory in just the title itself. My official position is as a school resource officer. I also serve as a detective with our Woodburn Police Department. But in the title itself, school resource officer basically means I'm still a police officer. I still enforce any laws that are violated. I still investigate any crimes that are that have occurred within the school or the school district. And we're not talking. People hear crimes in the school. Well, you have sometimes some fights. You have some thefts. You have some criminal mischief. So those things still, those issues still need to be addressed. And so, as an officer, that's what my role is there. I'm in the schools primarily right now. I have an office at Woodburn High School, and this is actually my 9th school year at Woodburn High School. And even though I'm stationed at Woodburn High School, I work with all the all the schools within the district with any issues that come up in regards to safety or parent issues or teen issues. So you have the school, you have the officer, and you have the resource. Where the resource comes in is I'm just another tool that works together with the school district, with the parents, with the community, with community resources, and we come together to address any issues that we are seeing within our community. Currently issues such as drug use within teens, how can we approach that from a parent's perspective, from a law enforcement perspective?
It sounds like you almost some counseling kind of aspects to it.
The title of school resource officer, in talking with several school resource officers throughout the state, that is technically what we do. We wear several hats, even within the school district.
So you get to know a lot of the kids, and
yes.
they come to you with questions or issues, or talk about what's legal or drugs, or
we talk about
gangs,
we talk about drugs, we talk about sex, we talk about alcohol, we talk about teen pregnancy, suicide, domestic violence. I mean, these are issues that we think that as a community are just issues that adults deal with, but there's repercussions when our kids are being exposed to these things. Sure. And so a lot of these kids have come into my office. I'll share with you just a brief story. Back several years ago when I first became a school resource officer, I believe it was my 2nd year there, I had a young lady that was a freshman came in and talked about committing suicide. Mm-hmm. And she says, Officer Rick, I feel like my life needs to end. And she went on and explained a lot of the issues that were going on, which I could feel the pain as I spoke to her. I talked to her for probably about 3.5 hours, 3.5 hours in my office. And I committed to that student, that female student, that's talk once a week. We talk about real life stuff. And so for her freshman year, we committed and we talked once a week, just talk about life, what potential she had to become great, you know, just looking at ways to find her support, find her resources. So that went on that whole freshman year. Her sophomore year, we still met every once in a while. Her junior year, she was doing a lot better. We occasionally. She graduated with honors. She got a full ride scholarship to Willamette University. Wow. She is now very close, if not graduated from Willamette University to become an immigration attorney.
One of your kids.
It's one of my kids. And being there for 9 years, you build that relationship with them.
So it sounds, I mean, to be a, you know, to go through some training or something to have this understanding.
Yes.
That not everyone has, whether a police officer or not, be able to deal with kids, be able to listen, be able to talk to them meaningfully. I mean, how did you come about that? I mean, did you kind of fall into it and it fit for you?
You know, doing it for 9 years has really helped me establish more rapport with our kids from the community. But back then it was kind of like, we need an officer up at the school, can you do that? And I said, I was fairly new at the time, and I said, sure, whatever you say, boss. And it actually worked out to the benefit, not just to my benefit as a police officer, but I think to the benefit of our school district, the benefit of our parents, and overall the benefit of this wonderful community. You know, in that case of the young lady I just spoke about, to have her come back and say, Officer Rick, thank you for saving my life. Those are things that I will never forget. Sure. And it's things that inspire me to continue to give to our students, to listen to our students. You asked me, you know, what's important in making this job happen. There's a saying that says, be slow to speak and quick to listen. And that works in more ways than we can imagine. When you stop and listen to somebody and just listen to them, and not just the words from their mouth, but what they're speaking from deep within, because a lot of these kids, that's what they're looking for. Someone to listen to them. And when you listen to them and you stop, you don't say anything, you just listen to them. Let them talk, let them vent, let them, you know, share what's going on. Right. Then you become that resource for them. And not a lot of people look at police officers as resources. They look for us for help. And help and resources, they do work together. But for us, it's kind of, I'm not here to arrest you necessarily. I want to help you succeed in life. I want to help you graduate. I want to help you reach your potential. You know, I want to help you focus on your life, your career. And through these last 9 years, it's been fantastic. You know,
from, you know, we, the citizens in the community, don't always meet police officers in the best conditions.
Yes.
And from one perspective, it seemed police officers don't always see the best side of citizens, because, you know, if you're just making arrests and you're seeing people, you know, drunk and fighting and guns and, you know, gangs and all kinds of mayhem, it seems like a kind of an interesting fit that police officer getting into a school, being a school resource officer and doing the things that you're talking about. I think it's fantastic.
And you know what, to this day, that is something that, you know, back in those days, it was something that the Chief Russell, along with, you know, the administration at the time, was we need to find a way to not just reach our Hispanic community, but also reaching our youth culture within our community. And it actually, I took that as a personal challenge to say, what can I do? You know, if I know that I can't go out there. We were talking earlier about, does everybody know you, Rick? Well, there's a lot of people that do know me. And part of that is because I want, this community is an essential part of my life. I live here, work here. You know, we talked a little bit about that. And to me, it's important to invest in the place where I live, I have no problem telling people I'm definitely Woodburn proud. I'm proud of where this community has come. We have such great potential, economically, socially, culturally, government-wise. So there's so many opportunities within this community to see greatness come out of it. And sometimes we lose focus of that with issues that come up and things. But I'm in it for the long haul, and I am Woodburn proud, and I'll continue to be so, and continue to work with the community as best as I can.
Sounds like you could be a teacher too. But one thing I wanted to touch on, you're in the schools, you're dealing with students. We have the alternative high school, and I've been out and visited that, and
yes.
Didn't really talk or relate to the kids, but the kind of kids that need to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's more support or more needs
Yes.
are fulfilled there. And then we have McLaren as
Mm-hmm.
well. So you talk about kids that have problems. Do you get involved with the process of getting them to the alternative high school and or getting them over to McLaren? And I'm not quite sure. I thought you had to commit a crime to go to McLaren. Is that really true, or can you just be super disruptive or something? So I know there's a lot of questions in there, but
yeah, no. I think if we start with the alternative school, which is called Success High School,
correct.
I do play a role in that. I mean, a lot of people think that Success High School is just for all the bad kids or kids that have done something bad. In all reality, there's a great group of students at Success High School. A lot of them just whether emotionally or mentally prepared to learn in a classroom setting,
Right.
bigger size.
Or maybe not challenged in some respects.
Yes,
either.
yes.
I mean, there can be the positive side. Someone that a little different, doesn't get along.
Yes.
But may be a genius in some respects.
And you know what? There have been several students that, they don't do well in the big classroom setting. At Success High School, you have a little bit more one-on-one. Yeah. You have the ability to, again, if you're not feeling challenged, to take on more, graduate sooner, get college credits. I mean, there's so much potential there. Granted, when people look at Success, they think, well, that's where a lot of the kids that have been suspended or expelled, go to.
But
and some are.
Too.
Some are.
And you, as a school resource officer, do they, the kind of kids, when they need this sort of thing, do they come through you? Are you involved in that process?
I am involved in a different manner. I mean, usually if a kid is being sent there, a student is being sent there because of some of their behavioral issues or some of the maybe criminal activity that they've been engaged in, whether it be alcohol, drugs, or things. There's certain school policies that take place, and so the school deals with a lot of that process. I deal with the what would you say, the criminal aspect of it. So, for example, a minor in possession of alcohol, I would do an investigation to confirm, yes, that the student is under the influence or they were in possession, or, so I address the investigation of that piece. Then the school district continues their policies and procedures, and in many cases, because of the zero tolerance on many issues with weapons and alcohol and drugs, a lot of these students do end up in Success High School because it is going to be a better fit for them, and they will get the education and the attention they need to be successful in their high school careers.
And some of those records can be expunged and that sort of thing, so they may not carry some of this the rest of their lives.
Yes.
If they've had a problem, they can clean it up. And
yeah. They have the opportunity to get all these crimes and issues that they've been involved with to get it expunged after their 18th birthday.
So McLaren is a school. They have school there for the kids.
There is a high school there, yes.
So what about there? I mean, are you the resource person for McLaren in that respect?
I unfortunately am not the resource officer for McLaren. McLaren is a state youth correctional facility, so it is just that. It is a correctional facility. But
when they have, does correctional, that involves the education too? Or I know nothing about it. So
yes,
kind of
and it involves the educational aspect because sometimes, because of unfortunate situations within the state of Oregon, there are minors under the age of 18 that have committed crimes, serious crimes. Right. Murders, assaults, robberies, things that would constitute a Measure 11 crime or something that you could be charged as an adult for. And so some of them...
And go to McLaren then because of that?
Because of their age and because of the crime. And so in many cases, they are sent there because of the combination of the two. They may be 15, they may be 16, and they get sentenced for a longer period of time under whether it's Measure 11 or the charges that they have. The state still has a requirement to provide education to minors, even in a correctional facility. So whether it's juvenile detention down at Marion County or McLaren, there has to be that opportunity to provide the education. So I believe strongly that's where the Lord High School comes in to provide that education for students, minor students.
Well, that's tough. Seems like if you're in jail, or if you're in the county jail and you're that young or detained, they still... It's like a difficult process.
There are several processes that are involved with that, especially if a teenager is charged with a Measure 11 crime. Taking them to adult court.
What Measure 11 is serious?
We're talking serious felony crimes, and where there's a mandatory sentence involved. And unfortunately, there's so many processes involved and policies and procedures that have to be taken place, whether it's through a school district, whether it's through a correctional facility. And that's why it's so important for school districts and law enforcement and counselors and correctional facilities and the government to work together to address the needs that are still out there for these young people.
Are those different factions working together well in our region, or is there some improvement? I know, talking to Patty Milne a little bit, and she talked about the lack of communication between state, county, city governments, and that it could be better.
Yes.
Not that there isn't some, and there
yes.
are, what's there is positive, but is that all working well enough, or could we always do better?
I can tell you this, the reality is it's working. Can it be better? Of course. I think in any process where you have several entities that are working together, you are going to have some miscommunications, you're going to have some conflict, you're going to have some disagreements in regards to, well, let's do it this way, no, let's do it this way. And so you just have to find that, very cliche, but you have to find that happy medium in regards to what's your real focus here, what is our purpose here. Again, being the school resource officer, my main title is to be a police officer. That's what I do for the city of Woodburn. But being within the schools, I have to be open to be a resource for parents, for students, for teachers, for staff, for the district in whole. And how can I work with all these different entities for the best of our students here in the school district. With over 6,500 students within our school district, that's a lot of people to be taken care of, to make sure that they're safe, that they're learning in a safe environment, that they're getting the education that they need in a safe environment, that issues at home won't affect their education at school. How can we work with parents? As a matter of fact, tomorrow night at Woodburn High School, I'll be giving a parent presentation on cyberbullying and sexting and how technology today has affected our teenagers.
Wow.
Yes, yes. It's a sign of times. A sign of the times.
Yeah, amazing. I remember when I was a kid, there was some bullying. The bigger kids and the smaller kids and the older kids and that kind of thing. But cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying. It's again a fairly new term within the last several years, but you see it now. Everybody's on their cell phones and pads and tablets and Facebook and Twitter and all these different things. And it's unfortunate now that technology, it's always a good thing. I mean, we're here on the show because of technology and the ability that it provides. And technology is good, but in many facets, young people have found a way to use something that's good and use it in a way that is not as good. And
adults have been pretty well good at that.
Yes, adults have as well. And so, I don't think anybody's exempt from these issues. It's just, unfortunately, it's out there, and it's something that because it's out there, we have to address it. And what better way than to educate parents, to educate school district staff. There is an old proverb that says, people perish for lack of understanding or lack of knowledge. And we as a community would perish or we would fail if we're not getting this information out to folks, to parents, to students, to staff. And so that's actually one of my roles as a school resource officer, is to get that information out there, for our police department to get that information out there, to work together with the school district, with the community of Woodburn, with the school district, with law enforcement, with different community organizations, come together to make Woodburn proud.
All right, good. One thing I want to touch on just a little bit.
Yes.
And that's within the Woodburn Police Department, there's some lawsuits going on and some
Yes.
Turmoil out in the community, discussions of what's happening. Has that, I know you can't really talk about any of those issues.
Yes, that's correct.
But because that's out there, is that affecting, people asking you, people, gee, what's going on, in the department? Do we have anything to worry about? I just wonder if that's affecting the officers, and is that making it more difficult to communicate, or is it another avenue to communicate?
Well, and you're absolutely right. It's not something I can comment on. But being a Woodburn police officer myself, it does present its challenges. I think the mindset right now as a police department is it's business as usual. We continue to provide the best service that we can to the community and to the citizens of Woodburn. Respond to the calls, make the community connection, and just provide the support, the service, everything that we can as usual. If we get sidetracked with different issues that come up, we end up losing our focus. And our focus is very, very clear from the beginning. That is to, again, cliche, to serve and protect the citizens of Woodburn. And we're going to do that any way possible. Go out there and solve crime. We talked a little bit about the recent homicide that we had, the hard work that we done to make that arrest, several arrests that we make within the community with theft rings and with scams and with theft rings at the company stores, and some of the challenges we face with the construction. And so there's other issues that happen in the community that tend to try to distract our main focus. I think we've worked very, very hard as a police department to keep that focus. We can't ignore the fact that there's issues there, but eventually the system will work its way out, and we'll continue to move forward and provide the best quality service that we can.
You think there'll be more cameras, like on 99 and 214 there and I wonder are we getting more revenue from, every time I go through that light, and I've asked people about that, well, why put it there? And I go to Safeway and go through that light fairly often, and I've never seen people running it. I see it happen more down at Young in 99, but people say that's a very dangerous corner, and that was the reason to put it in.
Yeah.
And we know a few of the motorcycle officers are there giving tickets.
Yeah.
That's kind of their job, revenue generating.
Yeah.
And I understand that, and it keeps people from, running lights, and keeps the traffic flowing as it should without running over pedestrians. But I just wondered, do you have any comment about this, the new photo enforcement?
I'll be very honest with you. I mean, I could comment about it, but I don't know a whole lot about it. I mean, I know that it was installed. I know that we have a few officers that are trained to work with that system. Because of the current position I hold, that's not unfortunately, it's not a priority in my daily functions in my position. And so I don't have a whole lot of access to that information. I don't have a whole lot of stats in regards to how it's been working out. My input from what I've heard so far is that it has done its job. Again, I believe there's been some technical issues that have come up, but nothing major. And it has really served its purpose. People are more aware, and that's actually the message behind it all. Behind the cameras, behind our motor officers, is make our community aware that we need to drive safely. We need to pay attention to traffic laws.
Watch that yellow light. Because
watch the yellow light.
Wait a minute. you're behind a truck and you can't see it, and
Yes.
you go through and it turns red while you're in the middle.
Yes.
And you're looking for the flash. Did
Yeah.
they take my picture?
And you end up going the other lane. And yeah, there's several issues that that our main focus is to educate the community. Let's drive more cautiously. Let's be paying more attention. Cell phones continues to be an
Sure.
issue still,
Sure.
and unfortunately because of
I
different.
didn't do it.
Yeah, I didn't do it. I'm not on it. Unfortunately, because of manpower, sometimes our focus, gets drawn away to different areas of concern, especially if it's something criminal nature. We're going to go after the criminal more than the traffic violator. And so we're down. We have 2 traffic officers right now that continue to work on their motorcycles and continue to enforce traffic laws and educate our community regarding that. Our police officers are doing the same thing when they
Seems
have
like mostly
when they have a
Settlemyre
chance.
and 214. There seems like there's always someone there. But another thing I wanted to touch on too.
Sure.
Get kind of off the subject in your expertise or where you work. What about gangs? I mean, are you involved with the gang and control of that, or does someone else do that? Or it seems like you're working with kids, and a lot of these are kids. So
Yeah, I actually do function as somewhat, I don't have the official title as a gang officer, but because I do work with the kids and a lot of them are gang associated, that's kind of has been, or they could be, it has been an area that I've been working with for the last several years. And so when it comes to cases that are gang related, we tend to reach out to those young people. That's where you see the benefit of that, because there is a lot of rapport that I've built and our department has built with several young people of our community. So when something does happen that is gang associated, that is youth associated, there are people that we can talk to. There are people that we can reach to say, hey, what do you know? What can you tell me? Point me the right direction.
That's an excellent point. You being at the high school, so you're just staying in touch, staying in contact, making, that the police are here to help. Not only,
Yes.
we're going to arrest you and you might be in trouble if you violate the law,
Yeah.
but we're going to help support.
Yes.
And it seems like that's the message I'm hearing from you more than the other side.
Yes.
And I think that's, I don't know, I wasn't aware that there was that much of that going on, but it sounds very positive.
A lot of the information that comes out through the media, through television, through internet things, a lot of that information is just the general information. A lot of people don't realize the hard work that we do behind the scenes to provide the best service for our community, to bring justice for the victims of crimes within our community. The perfect example is, currently working with this recent homicide. People don't know the countless hours that we have worked to sleep that we have lost because we work very hard to find the person responsible for this crime. Other crimes that have happened in the past, we have found our suspects in many of these cases because of the hard, laborious work that we continue to do. We do that not because part of it's our job, and part of it is, yes, of course, well, you get paid to do that. Well, yes, we do get paid to do that, but there's a satisfaction to be able to go up to a parent maybe who lost their loved one, or to someone who was a victim of a crime, and to be able to say, I'm sorry for your loss, I'm sorry for the impact that this crime has had on you, but I'm here to inform you that the person responsible has been arrested and is being charged with the crime. It brings a sense of satisfaction to say, we're here to serve and protect you, and we've done our job, and here's the person responsible. Unfortunately, because of how the justice system works and things, a lot of them get out of jail and you go on from there.
We know that's not your department.
That's beyond our control. But we take pride on the job that we do, and we hold our head up high, not just as a detective division, but as a police department, to say, hey, we continue to do this and do it to the best of our ability, and that's our focus, to be not just Woodburn Police, but to be Woodburn proud.
Right, that's fantastic. I think not only being a policeman, but you talk about that communication and that education and working with all the other agencies. I think that's extremely important. I'm glad that you're our school resource officer detective,
Yes.
and
Thank you.
I really appreciate that attitude and what you're doing as a citizen
Yes.
in Woodburn.
Yes, and we'll continue to do so. And feel free for people that may watch this program. And if you have questions, concerns, feel free to give us a call. Our general number, our officers are willing to talk to you. Our police sergeants are willing to talk to you. Our phone number is 503-982-2345. Ask to speak to an officer on duty. Ask to speak to a sergeant. If you have a teen issue or juvenile issue that you want, please give us a call. So thank you very much for having me on the show, and hopefully in the future we'll see each other again.
Good, Rick. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching.